Jonathan Miller, head basketball and football coach at Sachs High School.
Coach Miller, glad to have you on. It's one of the rare occasions we actually had your wife on before. We've had you on the channel before, but being able to come out here and interview you, I know you got a very busy day today. There's a signing going on today, and you're hosting Plainview in a regional game, which would normally be at JSU or for a trip to go to JSU. I can't remember how the
Today would be JSU. It'd be the first round game at JSU.
There
That's
we
right.
go. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of cool. You're getting to host that.
Yeah, back in the day, I remember growing up at Alexandria in the 80s. That's the way it was. You played 2 games in home gyms, and then back then 8 teams qualified for the state tournament, and you'd either go to Alabama or Auburn. So it's been a long time ago, but I think that was back during the 80s. It was like that.
That's where I actually wanted to start. And you mentioned Alexandria, and you grew up and went to school with the Ginn brothers, and played under his dad, legendary Coach Ginn, out there in basketball and football. And my wife actually went to school with you. But there's something about that time at Alexandria during those years that it's a foundation that's built, and there's coaches everywhere around this state that are doing things the right way. This place is no different than any other. Talk about that foundation and what Coach Ginn and that community and that time frame you guys were all together and what that was like.
Well, it was a special time in my life. To be able to learn from one of the greatest to ever do it. No nonsense guy, gonna do things the right way. He just instilled that in all of us, and I think just all of us guys that are in coaching now, just we wanted to, in part maybe continue on part of his legacy, and become coaches, and it was a special time and great opportunity for all of us to be able to learn under a legend.
That you guys had multiple state championships in football there under him, but basketball as well. I mean, you didn't miss a lick, and now you're doing both here. How much of that could you attribute to seeing him do it all those years and you being there?
I think it's just something that was instilled in me. Like, we won a championship, football championship on a Friday, and we're bouncing the basketballs on Sunday. It's just the way. It's just the way it worked. And just growing up, that's just what we did. We went from one to the other. We didn't need a break. We didn't really want a break. We just played ball. During the summer we played ball. He'd open the gym from 7 to 10 and 4 to 7, and a lot of us were there both times. That's just stuff that was ingrained in us. And I don't really think people ask me how I do it all the time, but it's just something I've been doing my whole life. I mean, there's a little bit more stress now being the head coach of 2 sports, but before I was the head coach of 2 sports, I was the head coach of 1 and assistant for the other. So it's just something that I've done my whole life, and I'm just kind of used to it.
That was going to be actually my next question is, what you're doing here is not shabby, my friend. I mean, you was 3rd round in football, and then now hosting a regional game against a perennial power in Plainview today. Time management, man. How do you do that? And I know you got a wife and kids, and how do you do it?
It's tough. It's tough at times. My wife's very busy as well. So, one thing I think that's made it easy for me is I get to pick my kid up every day from school. When we practice football, I walk up the hill to elementary school, and I we walk back down to practice. So he's with me, from the point school's over till we go home. I mean, we're together, and that makes it a lot easier on me because, I'm not, I'm busy coaching, but at the same time, we're still together in a sense, and it helps a lot.
No doubt. How much do you guys stay in contact? You guys that like Jennings and Ginn and all you guys that played there under that era, and Coach Davis, how much do you guys still stay in contact and kind of shoot ideas off each other now?
Well, it's probably not enough, to be honest with you. Obviously we see each other at sporting events. We talk on the phone at times to do scheduling and things like that. But, there's times where we do talk and shoot ideas off each other, but it's probably not enough, to be honest with you.
I need to go on a celebrity road tour together one day.
To get everybody together, that'd be an interesting and fun time.
Absolutely. Now I want to take you back just a little bit. What led you to Sachs? How did you end up at Sachs High School? Which is, for those who don't know, we got fans all over the state and Southeast,
Right.
some over the Southeast, and a few over the country. But Sachs is literally minutes from where you grew up.
Right. So it's very simple. I did my student teaching here, and I started in the fall. And there was a history teacher here who, during the course of that first semester, got cancer. Had to resign. So obviously there's not very many jobs open in December. So I graduated in December, and they just slid me right into that position, and been here ever since.
Man, been successful like that too. Talk about this community, man, here in Sachs. We've noticed from the times we've come out and fans that we talk to, it's pretty tight knit around here.
It is. You know, I think the biggest, you know, the guys that have played here before, they enjoy coming back and, you know, watching, you know, the current team play. I think that's a big thing. I like to have our old players around. You know, if they're out of town guys, I like, you know, when they come by, a lot of guys stop in and visit. And community's tight knit, you know. It's changed a little bit over the years, but it's a tight knit community, and they enjoy coming out and watching, you know, good football, good basketball.
They're getting a little bit of that for sure, my friend. You got it rolling in both. From the time you took over to where you are now as a program, did you envision it being at this level, or what was your thoughts when you first took over?
Well, you know, one foot in front of the other, just to be honest with you. Now, you know, I tell you, we just started with the basics and wanted our kids to develop a toughness and intensity from the weight room. You know, that's one thing that we emphasized here early on and kind of set that standard. And, you know, sometimes we have kids that, you know, are a little bit, I don't know if intimidated is the right word, by the weight room, or they don't like to get in there and work. And, you know, that kind of separates the guys who want to get out here and play for us and the guys who don't.
That's where it's won and lost.
There's no doubt. I mean, if you're not hitting that weight room hard, you know, in today's times, you're going to fall way behind.
It is, man. Unfortunately, I've seen that at some schools, and I've seen other schools that it's mandatory from the summer 6th grade up.
Right.
And those are the ones that are really successful, you know. And next question I want to ask you, Coach, is you mentioned your family earlier and your wife. How special is that to have a wife that actually, you know, and is involved herself and doesn't, you know, put the reins on you she lets you go do what you have to do to make this thing successful.
That's right. I'm very blessed, you know. She's never stopped me from pursuing a dream or anything like that. You know, when I was offered the football position, I was already the basketball coach, and we talked, and she's trying to encourage me to take the football job. And, you know, I told her, I said, I don't know that I'm ready to give up basketball just yet. And she said, do both. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I definitely appreciate her for that.
Yeah, because usually your wife will be the one.
That's right. She,
you need
you know,
the house, son, bro.
We don't do that to each other. You know, we encourage each other to go out and try to accomplish the things we want to accomplish.
It makes a lot of sense. Between the two, I'm going to ask you a personal question here. Which one do you find more frustrating to coach? And which one do you find more satisfying to coach?
Well, I tell you, above all else, the thing as a coach, you know, obviously the easy answer would be whenever you win, that's very satisfying.
You're doing a lot of that at both.
Well, that's what we're trying. I think they're both satisfying in their own ways. You know, successful seasons are satisfying, but you know, I learned real quick when I first started coaching that it's about a lot more than just X's and O's. You know, there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes, off the field things that nobody ever knows. That's probably the most important part of my job. You know, and I get to develop relationships with a lot of kids. not just football players, but also guys that may not play football that play basketball. So I think that's the, really above winning. I think developing relationships and seeing kids be successful, not only as players but as they move on in their husbands and dads and that kind of thing. I think I enjoy those guys being successful.
Yeah, I kind of want to close on this because I know you guys have a signing today, which is always fun to see kids go to the next level and play, especially for free in some cases.
Right.
Coach, what is the main takeaways that you would like for your guys, whether it be football, basketball, or anything you do up here with the school, to take away, kind of like you did from Coach Ginn, that's kind of helped enhance your life and made you a better person and coach and mentor? What do you hope these guys take away from your teachings and coaching?
Well, that's just it. There's so many valuable lessons that can be learned through sports. I mean, everybody knows that, and we take time to relate a situation in sports to a real life situation, because it's adversity's all around us. It don't matter if you're playing a sport or you're in life; it's going to happen, and we try to, above all else, teach our kids how to deal with it and keep putting one foot in front of another. And tell them that they're going to get knocked down, not just out here on the football field or basketball court, but in life, and they got to keep getting back up. So that's kind of the message that we try to drive home with these guys.
100%. Coach, I appreciate you sitting out here in the 30, well, maybe 41 degree weather and doing this interview with me, but I really enjoyed it. Having you on has been fantastic, and looking forward to working with you guys next fall. We're going to be back out here probably a good bit.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Coach.